Hey, boys and girls, these are the answers from the assignment from Tuesday, June 2nd, number 6 and 7 on the extra practice worksheet. Let's get started. First one says we have a 12-sided number cube. Each space is painted with one of the numbers from 1 to 12. Suppose you roll it and record the value on the top face. So what's the total number of possible outcomes of the sample space? Well, the sample space is this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. But that's not the answer. This is just the sample space. So it says, what's the total number of possible outcomes? This is a list of all the outcomes. There are 12 different outcomes. All right. Let A be the event of selecting an odd number. So list the possible outcomes. So we're looking for odd numbers up here, so we just have to go ahead and list them. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and 11. These are all the outcomes favorable to event A. Event B is randomly selecting a multiple of 5. So up here on the list, we have to find what are the multiples of 5, and that's going to be 5 and 10. Now, something I want you to keep in mind, I want you to notice here that this list has one number that appears in both lists. All right, that's the number 5. So for the next question, when we draw our diagram here, we're going to have to go ahead and include the circles have to be intertwined because there's one number that satisfies both. All right, so let's go ahead and let's call this event A. Let's call this B. Let's put our number 5 in there that satisfies both of them. And now let's list everything else that works for A. And that's going to be 1, 3, 7, 9, and 11. And everything else that works for B is just 10. But now don't forget, here we have 7 numbers. And remember, there's 12 different outcomes. So we're missing 5 numbers. So they don't satisfy A or B. So we have to list them in this rectangle someplace, but outside the circle. So let's list them down here. So we're missing a 2, a 4, 6, 8, and 12. All right. So are they mutually exclusive? The answer to that is no, because this 5, if I randomly chose a 5, that satisfies event A, and it satisfies an event B. So it's not exclusive. Exclusive means it just satisfies one. All right, so the answer to this is no. Find the probability of the complement of B. Well, the complement of B means what's the probability that B won't happen? So as you can see here, this is B. These are all the favorable outcomes for B. There's 2 numbers there. So if there's 2 numbers there, that means, again, there's 12 numbers altogether. That means there's 10 numbers that are favorable to B not happening. And again, there's a total of 12 numbers, so our answer is 10/12, which is just 5/6. All right? Moving along. So 7. So Sally has 4 red socks, 6 white socks, and 2 pink socks in her drawer. She randomly pulls out a red sock out of the drawer. Then she randomly pulls out another sock from the drawer. What's the probability that Sally pulls out a red sock? So we got to think about this. So she puts her hand into the drawer and she pulls out a red sock. Now we want to know what's the probability that second sock that she pulls out is going to be red. So what we have to do with these numbers up here, we have to realize that one of these socks, or one of these 4 red socks, is gone. So this is now, there's only 3 red socks there. Because again, she pulled one out. Right? So now we're dealing with 3 red socks, 6 white socks, and 2 pink socks. So what's the probability she chooses red? Well, there's 3 favorable outcomes to choosing red, and there are 11 outcomes altogether. So the answer is 3 11s. What's the probability that Sally pulls out a sock that is not red? Well, if there are so let's look at the favorable outcomes for not being red. There's 6 white and there's 2 pink. That means there's a total of 8 outcomes that are favorable to not pulling out a red sock, and of course there are 11 outcomes altogether. So are the events described in A and B complementary? Well, the answer to that is yes. First of all, if I look at this 3 11ths plus 8 11ths, that's going to equal 11 11ths, which equals 1. So that covers all the bases. So either she pulls out a red sock or she doesn't pull out a red sock. So those are opposites essentially, right? But the opposites together, they cover all the bases. They cover 100% of the outcomes. Give me an email if you have any questions.